Hi, Brandon.
Hey, Hannah.
Brandon's trying to start the episode while I'm muted. Welcome to GhostWritten.
Whoa!
Oh, record time.
Damn.
Record time.
Maybe we should start saying it before we say hi to each other.
Welcome to GhostWritten. Hi, Brandon.
Hey.
Just all one word.
It'll be our new game to see who can get it in first. Whoa. Didn't
That's
sound right.
She said.
Listen,
or as
guys.
Tyler would say, that's what I told her.
Hey, listen, we just recorded our Patreon episode, and I'm in rare form tonight. Not entirely sure why, but you're welcome ahead of time. So
Jesus. Thanks for bearing with us the last a little bit. I'm magically am gonna be Brandon's neighbor soon.
yeah.
And it happened very suddenly. So there was a lot going on.
Yeah, Mercury's in retrograde, so
yeah, which means new apartment. Which
But yeah,
means me and Brandon can record together after I get all moved in, and it's gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. And then a lot
the whole
more
podcast is just it's gonna be having like slap fights.
Well, and then a lot more of those grown-up slumber parties, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
So I feel like okay. I did watch some stuff recently. Did I tell you last time that I watched the new Candyman?
No, you said I was telling you you had to.
Yeah, I did. I watched it.
Was it lovely?
Yeah, it was. Honestly, okay. So a lot of newer movies that I've seen recently have been kind of hearkening back to the ultra violence of slasher movies in the 80s, but it's different because in the 80s it was very like it was so over the top and not portrayed seriously. But that, that's part of what made the slasher genre so popular. It was kind of a shtick, right? Like it wasn't, nobody went in and was like absolutely terrified unless they were children. I mean, we were all scared of like Freddy Krueger as children, but you know that classic Robert Englund kind of like he's murdering people, but he's cracking jokes, it's like all of the violence of that with none of the slapstick.
No humor.
Yeah.
No
and
humor.
it's so visually like
it's stunning.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning visually.
Yeah. And like the two examples I have recently, because I've decided to finally get caught up on some of the stuff that I've not been watching or that I put off. I watched Halloween Kills, which we did talk about. But there was a scene in that was just incredible. Like it was just great. And there was this scene in Candyman where those teenage girls are in the bathroom and they do the Candyman game, and then you see everything and hear everything from the perspective of the girl in the stall. And it was just so visceral that I was like, I feel like I'm watching a snuff film, even though I know it's not that, because
I think we paused it at that point and like all looked at each other and like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
it's rough.
Because it's the sound. Like it's the sounds and like the fact that you see like the blood pooling and stuff, and anyway, guys, if you haven't seen, listen, and I'm a very big fan of the original Candyman, at least the first one. Carvel and I were talking about it. I know I've seen the first two, but I don't think I've seen the third one. But I love what they did with the lore, and
it was good.
I love the fact. Well, I'm not gonna spoil anything. But it was just so good, and like
And if you're going to watch it, pay attention to the background because there's so much going on the entire screen. Like the focal points are crazy. It's great. It's fantastic.
And I will say, one of the things that I loved, and I know a lot of times, guys, on this podcast that we focus a lot on like rural communities, and we talk a lot about how creepy it is out in the woods, which is true. Fact of the matter is, cities are just big, sprawling, urban jungles.
Yeah.
And what I loved about the old Candyman movies is that it was like bringing this lore that like you generally only get out of rural communities into like front and center in this like urban setting, and it like it was still scary.
Yeah, it
you
was.
like you think, okay, for me as someone who grew up in the country, you think of like being in a city with all these lights and all these people, and it's like more safe, but
I'm super afraid of cities.
oh yeah, well that movie in particular, it's like it makes it seem like there's no difference between like the city and the forest, because whether you're in the city or the forest, there's still these entities, you know what I'm saying? So
well, I think that it points out really well too that how lonely it can be surrounded by people, and how isolated you can be completely surrounded by people.
Absolutely, especially when you're in some kind of distress, right? Because everyone around you is moving about their lives like normal. But anyway, I don't want to talk about Candyman the whole time, but it was fantastic.
Welcome to GhostWritten, the podcast about Candyman.
But it was really good, and
super good.
Yeah, and you guys should all watch it if you haven't.
Yeah, I've been playing the new Fallout 76.
Nice.
I know it's gotten a lot of flack, but it's in West Virginia, and I was talking to my sister about it because I saw it and it was on sale, and she's played it a lot. And she was like, "It's like being at Granny's, but with monsters and robots." And I was like, "I'm sold."
Love that.
Yeah. So I've been playing it with my brother, and I'm like, we walked into a church. He goes, "Hey, come look at this." I was like, "Oh, what's going on? Fucking around."
You guys play co-op?
Yeah, you just play it online together. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And he goes, "Look, you'll really like what they're worshiping." And I walk up and it's this big like Mothman skeleton. And I was like, nope, we have to get the hell out. We have to leave. Because like the new storyline is this Mothman cult. Yes. There's sheep squatch in it, which we're avoiding. I will die.
I didn't realize there were cryptids in Fallout.
Yes.
Okay, that's
somebody
cool.
made a mod to put Siren Head in it too, and I think I'm gonna need that mod because it's terrifying.
Is that the big thing from like those TikToks where like the sirens are going, and it's like
sirens are going because it's fucking head. Yeah. That's like my favorite new like modern cryptid is Siren Head. It's pretty cool and terrifying.
I like Siren Head. I like the Rake. I like did I talk about the Rake on here?
I don't think so.
I like.
You're just gonna gloss over it though, okay?
Well, I'm just naming them off. Slenderman.
Yeah, Slenderman's cool too. But it's fun. Like if you want to experience what it's actually like to be in Appalachia, play the game. Because like there are actual landmarks in West Virginia. We ran up on a giant teacup building and I was like, oh shit. So I had to look it up and it's real. And I was like, guess where I'm going?
I think it's really cool when games do that. Like it's difficult to do it, within a certain amount of accuracy, obviously, but like
everything's a little closer together because after we left the teacup, we accidentally stumbled into Charleston and my brother goes, "We have to go." And I was like, "But I'm making friends with this raider." And he's like, "Hannah, we have to leave now."
One of the newer seasons of The Walking Dead goes through Charleston.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, I've been there. Yeah, anyway. All of our haters that are like,
you guys never shut the hell up.
That are aggravated at that we go on tangents.
But we're very passionate, okay?
Yeah, they're fuming right now. It's fine.
Don't listen. Damn. Or I guess keep listening. Keep giving us our listens and downloads. And
yeah. You can hate listen if you want. Just don't leave us a bad review or I will find you.
Brandon's on one. If you want to experience Thirst Trap Brandon, go to Patreon.
Yeah, that'll get the subscriptions. Listen, okay, look, I say this right now. I say it right now. If we get 10 more patrons before the next recording, I'll do the next one shirtless.
Oh. And this is how we get booted from all platforms.
Well, listen, I didn't say anything. The people watching know what I just did, but
you have to be a patron to watch.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Okay. Jesus.
Oh, you're welcome.
We're gonna go ahead and get into it. Yet again, thanks for bearing with us. It's been a lot crazy the last couple of weeks. We're gonna try to be a little more forgiving to ourselves too when we do need a break if something happens.
Yeah,
because yet again we have full-time jobs and spouses and
animals.
So we do this
lives,
as a passion project.
Hobbies.
Yeah, we have children, fuzzy children.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were talking about things happening in the city. We're going into the city today.
Ooh.
Specifically New Orleans, because
one of the best.
Yeah. So one of the coolest, we were talking about Anne Rice not long ago since she had passed.
Yeah.
And how she really talked a lot about the vampire lore in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about some vampires in New Orleans.
Ooh.
And really not that long ago. Relatively. We talk about a lot of stuff from like the 1800s, and this is from 1932.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that is pretty recent.
So in 1932, police said that there was a woman covered in blood running down the street screaming. Her wrists were wrapped in gauze, but they were soaked through with blood, and she was emaciated and just...
My God.
Yeah. So the police caught up to her, and she told them that she had been kept prisoner and by these two brothers, and the cops got her to take them back to where she had just
Their names
from.
were Louis and Lestat.
No.
Oh, okay.
Their names were Wayne and John, but okay.
Oh, okay.
So the cops get her to take them back to this house that she had just escaped from, and in the house there were 15, no, hold on, there were a lot. They found 15 bodies scattered across the room, and they all had the same cuts on their wrists as this woman. Her name was Mary. Some of them were still alive, but the majority of them were dead. So they're just, can you imagine the smell? It's Louisiana.
Oh, God, it's hot, humid.
And there are dead bodies all over this place. So they got some of them to the hospital and helped them. But yet again, all of their wrists are cut and all of their wrists are bound in gauze. I mean, they start talking to the girl more while they're in the house. And she said that these two brothers had been kidnapping people, taking them to the house, slitting their wrists, and drinking their blood. They were only ever at the house at night. They would come in and drink their fill and leave in the morning. They were even going so far as to reopen wounds from the night before on people drinking their fill and leaving.
Oh, shit.
So brothers are kind of dumb because this is their house.
Yeah.
So the cops wait around. I mean, the two brothers, their names are John and Wayne Carter. kind of small guys. They're not very big. They're only like 5'6". They're dock workers. They're a little sturdy, but they're small dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And so the cops are waiting there, and the brothers show up, come up to the second floor, see the cops, and then proceed to overpower 7 cops, and then jump from the second floor, land on their feet, and run away.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So can you imagine being a cop and you've just seen this gruesome scene and you've been stuck in it all day dealing with these bodies, and then the perpetrators show up and you see some weird shit like that?
God, I mean, it's going to be a lot.
Yeah. So yet again, I've said that the brothers aren't terribly intelligent. They go to work the next day. Yeah, they go to work the next day and are promptly arrested.
It's funny because, like, you always think, like, obviously we're all thinking they're vampires, right? You always think of like vampires as being smart and like cool and sexy, and they're just like stupid
fucking idiots. But they managed to kidnap all of these people and keep them. And obviously, people couldn't really get away because they'd had all their blood drank
right
through the night. So, but this one girl was strong enough to get away. So they were very promptly found guilty and hung in the town square, like you do. But on an annual basis, around Mardi Gras every year, the brothers return to their old home. The current residents have told stories of the brothers who commonly made appearances. They spoke of an evening when they first purchased the home. Upon arrival, they noticed people out on the second balcony floor. Rushing out to yell at them, the figures leaped off the balcony and disappeared into thin air. There have also been reports of people waking up to see these figures of 2 men in the room.
Holy shit.
Standing over them.
Damn.
So short and sweet today, but I couldn't pass it up when I ran across this.
No, I love that.
So those are the Carter brothers of Louisiana.
That paints such a vivid image in my head of, like, you know, sometimes we tell these stories where, like, they seem like a movie, you know, even though it's something that really happened. And I can visualize everything you just said. I wonder if that's been made into a movie. Hold on.
I don't think so.
The Carter brothers?
New Orleans. And I saw there were a lot of articles too talking about this time, like New Orleans, how it had just been like one of the reasons that so much happened in New Orleans is because it wasn't just a town of excess, but it was a town of wealth, and there's just a lot happening, a lot of industry. And
I imagine that the people that they were luring back to their house were sex workers, probably.
I didn't see any mention of it, but it's quite possible.
You know, it's funny. I Googled Carter Brothers New Orleans. I click on images, and the fourth one is Louis and Lestat.
Yeah. Which is quite possible that that's part of what.
Oh, it has to be. It has to be a little bit of her inspiration. Come on. Like, come on. That's super interesting.
This is 1932. Like, that is, in the grand scheme of things, that is not very long ago.
Indeed. Damn.
And their house is spooky.
Yeah, I see some pictures here, and it's like very, like, I mean, it's very New Orleans.
It's very New Orleans. Very New Orleans.
Damn. But can you imagine? That's one of those things, though, that it's funny that we were talking about the city stuff. That's one of those things. It's like, can you imagine how many people just walked by there while that was happening on the inside, and they had no idea? Do you ever think about that? When you're like driving through a
Yes.
neighborhood or something, you're like, what kind of
All
fucked
the
up
time.
shit is going on behind these doors?
All the time. Yeah. And so it's always something that I think about too, just how isolating houses are and how it's literally an entirely different world
Oh yeah.
from what's going on around it. Like nobody can tell what's going on inside that house.
Yeah. I mean, obviously sometimes that's a good thing because you get home from work, you're in your place, you like relax. But damn, yeah. God. Ooh, that's a good
That's
one.
what makes like slasher movies and stuff so scary. People in their houses and the whole the calls coming from inside the house kind of thing.
I talked about this before when I talked about one of the hotels I did about like in 1408, where he's like looks out the window and he sees people on the street and he's screaming and they can't hear him.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
I love it.
Really, really good.
Junkie Psych, if you're listening.
What loved you in
everything.
Yeah.
Don't even try to choose, Brandon. It's too difficult.
I was gonna say the movie where he's holding the speaker.
Say anything?
Yeah.
Boombox is not just a speaker, Brandon.
I can't remember. Listen, they
haven't he's got his wireless Bluetooth speaker out in the yard.
They haven't been called boomboxes in so long. But yeah, that kind of stuff is fascinating. And like, so when we're asking for submissions and things like that, like stories, that's the kind of shit we want to hear too. Like, I know we've said this a lot, but you know, when we get people's stories, we don't just want to hear the type of stories that we tell, right? Because that would be boring. So while we do want to hear people's experiences about everything, I mean, I would love to hear about like a haunting in a city, you know, like please if you haven't,
just your farmhouse.
Yeah, which is great.
We do love a good farmhouse haunting.
Yeah, but you know, I want to hear about haunted apartment buildings. I want to hear about fucking haunted submarines. I want to hear about
that. Sounds like absolute hell.
right. That's why space horror movies are so scary, because it's a haunted house, but you can't leave the house. You know? I
want to hear overseas haunted house stories.
Oh fuck yes. And you know what? If you listen, and I mean, obviously you need to comprehend English enough to be able to understand what we're saying, but you're not that good at writing it, send us something in your native language. We'll Google translate that shit.
And then we'll read the exact translation.
Yeah.
On Patreon.
Yeah. Hell yeah. But yeah, so send us your submissions. To
what do you I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know who did them last.
I'll do it.
Okay.
You can send us your submissions either in text or audio form to ghostwrittenpodcast@gmail.com, or we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at GhostWrittenPod. We love to hear from you, even if it's not a story. Talk to us. We get some conversations going over on Facebook a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
So come and check us out on Facebook. Talk to us.
Like our page so you can see the fire memes that we share.
Fire memes, yeah.
They're all relevant. We're always sharing like cryptid memes and stuff. But they're awesome. So
mostly clothing related. We shared like 2 cryptid memes in a row that were clothing related. That's
fine. Listen, it's what you come here for is the intersectionality of creepiness and just ridiculousness that we throw out into the world. So you're welcome. And with that, everybody. Yeah, thanks guys. I think it's time for the spooky outro.